If you're a Borough fan, you'd hope that's the case.
So 6-1 on the night, 6-2 on aggregate, 6 goals scored by Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. As mentioned, Frank Leboeuf was watching it, and I'm not sure if he's happier for the result or as frustrated as what he saw from Middlesbrough tonight. But as for Chelsea, that was the response that was expected of them, Frank.
Yes, Kay. First of all, I'm very sorry about your almighty team. But yeah, Chelsea did what they had to do, but they didn't have to force themselves in a way because, as the guy explained, Middlesbrough did the job for them. What is the biggest weakness of Chelsea nowadays? They can't create any chances. So why they appointed Mr. Michael Carrick to be the best coach ever for Chelsea Football Club? And I'm saying for Chelsea Football Club because he did everything to help the players out to score goals. He allowed these players to think that as a championship team, they could play from behind, from the back, and have no problem. That's exactly what Chelsea was looking for because they can't create chances. So Middlesbrough tries to play from the back instead of kicking very high and just wait, park the bus, and just wait for them to come and struggle. That it happened before the first goal. They couldn't score. They couldn't create anything except the Chilwell header. And yes, I think it was a penalty. But otherwise, it didn't create because Middlesbrough didn't give them anything. And I don't understand Michael Carrick. Really, he was an absolutely fantastic player. But what he showed today tells me that he has to improve his coaching career because he exactly did what Pochettino was expecting from Middlesbrough. Playing nowadays football. Crazy.
I don't think there's too much more to say about this game.
Well, I mean, Chelsea, professional, as Rob will mention in commentary, some bigger tasks to come. Villa and Liverpool coming up. But they can do no more. They made hard, heavy weather of the first game at the Riverside. But why do these teams keep trying to do things that they struggle to do in their own league? And if there was only a blueprint for a team that did what Middlesbrough tried to do in the Championship and had success with it, Burnley, won the Championship, playing football at the back, have come to the Premier League, tried to do the same thing, guess where they are? They're in the relegation zone because it is so much more difficult to try and do that against elite level players. And even though Chelsea are struggling in the league, they still have very good players. And so you have to adjust your game. And even if you make a couple of mistakes, once you go 2-0 down, somebody has to say, right, let's not try and play out from the back. It's 2-1 in aggregate. 1 goal gets us back in. Let's squeeze up. Let's tuck the full-backs in. Let's play it long to our 2 strikers. Push the midfield up behind. This is not rocket science, by the way. Try and win some second balls in Chelsea's half, and let's play from there. No. Let's continue to try and do the things that have been killing us, and that's what made this tie almost unwatchable in the end. And that's what we feared when this tie came out. The 2 legs and we can be thankful that we even got to a second leg and we had something to go. What if Middlesbrough sit deep? But this was my fear from a neutral perspective, that it was going to be a mess, and tonight was a mess.
And to that point, and to Frank's, if you're Michael Carrick and Middlesbrough and you see the first leg, you see how Chelsea create all of their opportunities. You see where your opportunity comes from. How do you explain today's setup? Yes, listen, I understand you have injuries and you have to shuffle the pack, and so you decide to go to a back 4. But why you decide to play a high line, no pressure on the ball, why you continue to try to pass the ball out to the back is beyond me. So it's a whole lot more than just making in-game adjustments because the wheels came off in the second leg. You saw the wheels wobbling in the first. And not only do you not address it, you double down on it. And for me, so Middlesbrough got exactly what they deserved with that in mind. Chelsea couldn't have had an easier day. I don't think semi-finals come any easier than the 90 minutes we just witnessed. Chelsea move on. There's still a test to come, rest assured. But Chelsea can be thankful for Middlesbrough I'll call it naivety, and I'm being as kind as I possibly can.
Well, that's the point, isn't there, Nedum? Pitch side tonight at Stamford Bridge. There are much tougher tests ahead for Chelsea now. In the FA Cup against Aston Villa, it's not going to be so easy for them.
No, you'd expect it to not be that case. I think even though Villa aren't exactly in the best moment right now, I think they do know how to play against Chelsea. I think they've won here already this season. So for Chelsea, they did what they needed to do today, and they understood there was going to be something there for them available if they went and pressed in a really organised manner. And I think some of the turnovers led to so many issues for Middlesbrough. And I think, you know, I heard you guys talk about, say, Burley playing out from the back. From what I saw with Carrick there, he wasn't telling them, you have to, you have to, you have to. I think sometimes this is one of those symptoms where players, they take on instruction, but then they're still expected to manage games, and they just didn't do that today at all. I thought they looked good at times, and they managed this well in the first leg, where they would move it, but they needed to have the threat in behind, and I think that's where, you know, the goal from Morgan Rogers came from, and I think yellow card as well against Thiago Silva. And if you're going to play, don't play just for the sake of it. And unfortunately, I think some of those players thought this is what we're going to do to show how good we are. But Chelsea, as the guys have said, they've got better players. They understand how to press better, and then an opportunity that can come there. But again, it's a big day for Chelsea, getting themselves to another final. You know, I think it's the second in 3 years, however long it is. But yeah, the game against Villa, that will be a tough test for them. But the players are feeling themselves, and as long as they're healthy, I think they'll believe that they can get the result.
Frank, while Nedum was talking, there was something going on. We saw some strange faces being pulled by you.
No, because I was thinking about the fact that he said that the coach didn't want them to play like that, Middlesbrough. I think he should have forbid them to play like that. That's his role. He should have a plan. He said, guys, I forbid you to play from the back. You're gonna be smashed back. I think we all agree. We are 4 pundits, 4 former players. We all agree that it was the worst to do. And that's why I don't understand. I was teasing a little bit Michael Carrick, because it was obvious during the first tie that Chelsea couldn't create anything unless you give them the opportunity to do so. And so if he's not saying, oh, you shouldn't do too much of that, he should have said, I forbid you to do that. Kick a long ball, play higher, give pressure. That's exactly what you have to do, and what you have a chance to be successful about.
All right, Chelsea won this, though.
Yeah, I think, look, the probability is Chelsea would have won this game anyway. But I think what we're trying to say is it might have been a contest. It might have been somewhat of a contest, which in the end, well, once it got close to half-time, it wasn't a contest at all.
Chelsea doing better at home recently, though. Obviously, you can take this game and say it's against lower opposition, but this is just their recent run of results at home. Which,
well, but I look, I'm not
by their own standards,
I've not been funny, right? Let's just take the last 5 or 6, right? Sheffield United, relegation, cannon fodder. Newcastle, the Trippier mistake at the end, dug them out, they won on penalties. Crystal Palace, heading towards the relegation zone, talking about Roy Hodgson's job. And then you got Preston North End in the Championship, Fulham, West London derby, decent side, and Borough. So it's a bit like, in some sense, when Manchester United were having this patch, and I don't know how I've got Man United into this segment again, but I've, because the two of the clubs that are spending a lot and are struggling. But when Man United had this period and Ten Hag's got a lot of stick, and people were saying, yeah, but look at these results, we've got 5 wins in a row or 4 wins in a draw or whatever it is. But when you peeled it back and looked at who they'd been playing, the opposition was weak and they'd struggled. And that opposition there recently is pretty weak, but you can only beat what's in front of you. There's a big acid test coming up. FA Cup on Friday, which we have live against Villa, and then Liverpool. And that's where you're going to learn. You're not going to learn about your players walloping Borough by 6 goals at home when they're making mistakes. You're just not. You're not really going to learn a lot there. All you're going to do is get people sharpness and fitness like Chilwell, get them back into the side, get them a run of games because they've struggled in the full-back stroke wing-back positions. That's the kind of things you can take out from it. You can't really take much else from a side that basically lie down like Borough did. So there's some huge games to come. But this is a day that when Pochettino woke up, he went, please no, please, just please don't let this go wrong.
Let's stay there, though, talking about Chilwell coming back and talking about their 11 today. Is this an 11 that he sticks with for these upcoming games?
Well, I don't trust Modric at all. I think he's I think what he does a lot of times, it's a head scratcher. He wants to do everything at 100 miles an hour, so I don't really trust that. Obviously, you know, Sterling and Cole Palmer are pretty much one of the first names on the team sheet. Chilwell, obviously. So, and then it's whether Conor Gallagher comes back in. He was on the bench today, or whether he sticks with what he's got. I would imagine he might stick with what he's got. So I don't know about you, Shaq. I'm okay with the goalkeeper, even if Sanchez is... I like this goalkeeper. And I'm not biased because he was coached by my old teammate and best man, Kevin Hitchcock, who said, by the way, this guy is going to be really good and he looks good. I think there's 7 or 8, maybe 7 you could hang your hat on and say that's who he's going to select. And there's 3 or 4 other positions, at least. Striker, one of the wide positions, maybe midfield, and then... one of the full-back positions. So it's still not a guarantee.
I think he sticks with this 11. And
do you like Modric against even?
Well, I think Modric at least gives you some pace. You know, the thing for me is you look at Chelsea and even when you swap personnel, you don't get much of a change. You don't get much of a change in